Welcome back to part 2 of our Spotlight on Andy and Maya series. This time round we're focusing on seasons 3 and 4. Season 3? Shall we crack on?
Here we go.
Here we go.
Yep.
So in the season premiere, again we get Maya calling Andy out, but this time it's for not talking to her because she's witnessed an argument between Andy and Pruitt in which Pruitt was berating Andy for her relationship with Sullivan. And all Maya wants is for Andy to open up to her about it. And she says that she doesn't care who Andy's sleeping with. She only cares that Andy won't talk to her. And then their next sort of big interaction is in episode 3 after Ryan's passing. And Andy's come back to work and Maya is worried about Andy being in the field while she's grieving, like she is. But when Andy says that that's what she needs, is to go out and be in the field, Maya lets her go. But Jack accuses Maya of moving Andy around like a chess piece, hoping that she'll fail in order to boost her own chances of being promoted to captain.
Yeah, I didn't think that was fair.
No, I was going to say, do you think that's true? Because I don't think that's true at all.
No, that wasn't fair.
I love the way that you're shaking like a soft drink as if it's a cocktail shaker.
Because I want to move the ice around so I can get some of the ice when I take a drink.
That noise is so exciting to me. I feel like I'm going to get a nice dry martini or something when I hear that noise.
You're so funny.
But here I am, sipping my fizzy water.
Ugh.
I can't believe you don't like sparkling water.
No, still water for me, please. Thank you.
It's the only way to go. I'll make sure that we're stocked up with cold, still water in the fridge when you come.
Thank you.
The most exciting of drinks.
Don't mock me.
I'm not. I love you and your Mountain Dew. So you agree with me that Jack's just being mean and that Maya would not do Andy dirty in that way and move her around like a chess piece.
I do think that was inappropriate of Jack to say yes.
Yeah. And then Maya later tells Andy that she's trying to figure out what Andy needs and who she needs to be for Andy, which I think, again, is proof that she only wants what's best for Andy. And then obviously we know that Pruitt asks Sullivan not to give Andy the captaincy at this point in time because Pruitt feels that she'll fail if she's promoted now while she's grieving. And so then Sullivan recommends Maya instead. And I imagine that there's probably a bit of contention over Maya's reaction after that because they meet on that bridge thing, don't they, that goes over the barn. And
Yep.
Maya says, I think you should go and talk to Sullivan. So she can't bring herself to tell Andy that she's been promoted to captain. So what do you think about that?
I don't know if who it would have come better from. I think with the state of their friendship, it was probably wise for her to do that. Because she was going to have questions that Maya wouldn't be able to answer. And
Yes.
It should come from the person who made the promotion. So I think that was smart on Maya's part to do that.
Yeah, I don't think it was her place. I think maybe she could have said, you need to talk to Sullivan and I'm here for you afterwards if you want to come find me and talk.
Yeah.
But then it wouldn't be so dramatic if for TV if she said something nice to qualify it. But I tend to agree with you, actually, that I don't think it was her place to tell Andy anything. And I hadn't thought about what you said, where Maya wouldn't have the answers to the questions that Andy had. I hadn't even thought it that far through.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right.
Well, that's why we have each other.
There you go. Fill in the blanks for each other.
Yep.
And then it's hard to believe that all of this happened in the first 3 episodes. So in episode 4, we see that Andy hasn't taken the news particularly well because she
Yeah.
completely blanks Maya in the kitchen. And then she goes to the gym in the station and tells Jack that she thought the job was hers. And then she outright defies an order that Maya's given when Maya says that they need to do a second mandatory workout. Then she calls her captain in a very sarcastic and resentful tone. And the thing that really upset me is what she does later, which is she makes fun of Maya in Spanish with Rigo.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty low blow.
It was. She gets pretty nasty towards Maya during these episodes. I'm not really a big fan of it.
No, and Maya obviously knows from the pattern of behaviour that's been going on that day that that's exactly
Yeah.
what's going on. She doesn't speak Spanish, but she's not stupid.
Right.
And despite that, when the call comes in, Maya still says to Andy, be careful out there.
Uh-huh.
So she's still trying to connect with Andy on that kind of friendship level, despite Andy's treatment of her. And then when Andy's back, she flat out ignores Maya, who's trying to reason with her and say, you know, I know this isn't what you wanted, but we are still a team. And then Andy literally tries to rally the whole of the rest of 19 against her so badly that Sullivan is actually forced to step in and
Right.
sort of have a bit of an intervention and say to all of them, Maya is your captain. She's the captain that I've chosen. This isn't a trial period. This is it now. So you guys are just going to have to make an adjustment.
Yep.
But Andy says that she's earned it, that it was promised to her, and that Maya doesn't care. That
Has Andy really earned it though at this point?
And also, have I missed something? When was the job promised to her and by whom?
Yeah, and you know I love Andy, but at this
Yeah.
point has she really hasn't earned it in my opinion.
No, I don't think that either one of them has earned it any more than the other. And if you are strictly going by how they both made lieutenant, Andy's was because she went to her dad and said, life isn't fair. I want to be considered as well.
Yeah, make me
And so
lieutenant.
he just went poof like that, as if by magic, you're a lieutenant. And
Right.
the chief of the whole department said to Maya, you're bloody brilliant, love. Do you want to be lieutenant? So
Right.
which one of them earned it?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, and that's a genuine question. So if Tiffany doesn't know the answer, guys, answers on the back of a postcard. Have I missed something? When was Andy promised the job and by whom? Because I don't
No,
remember that happening.
No, I don't remember it being promised to her either. Honestly, I don't.
No. So, I just think the whole thing's unjustified. And then, bless Maya, pattern keeps repeating. She goes home to talk to Andy about the situation to try and clear things up. She's always the one that makes the approach. And Andy's not there because she's elsewhere with Jack, telling him that they should get a place together because she can't live with Maya anymore.
Yep.
Poor Maya. Then at the mandatory fun camping trip, remind me which episode that was again?
I think that's 3-5, but I'm not sure.
305? Rings a bell.
Yeah,
Rings a bell.
maybe.
But Andy is just continually sniping about Maya behind her back. And then she throws Maya's pine cone into the fire
Yeah, that was mean.
when Maya's trying to do a team building exercise. And this is a strong word. And I haven't written this in my notes, but I'm literally just like thinking about it. At this point, I think it's bullying.
Oh, it is bullying, 100%.
Yeah, it's just not right the way she is with Maya. And
No, it
then
is bullying.
Yeah, and
Okay.
during the blizzard, when Maya says that she misses seeing Andy at home, Andy literally goes to unclog a toilet rather than speak to Maya. That's strong.
It is strong. And again, it's Maya trying to do the repair, not the other way around.
Yeah, it's always Maya that goes running. And then Andy says to Pruitt that she feels angry at everybody since Ryan's death, and she apologizes to Pruitt if she's taking it out on him. So then, is it Ryan's death that's making her react so strongly to Maya, or is it really that she just hates that Maya's got the job that she believes fervently should be hers?
I have to believe that even if Ryan were alive, she would have reacted the same way. She'd just be venting to Ryan over venting to other people.
Yeah,
I really do.
yeah. And there was no apology forthcoming to Maya. It was just
No.
to her dad. So yeah,
Right.
you're probably right. Um, and then during JJ's labour, Maya says to Andy that she'll still be waiting for Andy's friendship when the grief and her anger at Maya eases. And she says to Andy that that's because Andy knows that she would have taken the job were the tables turned.
Uh-huh.
So I quite like that Maya said that to her, like, you would have done the same.
Right.
And I think Andy would have done the same. I don't think Andy would have.
Are you kidding me? She wouldn't have given a hesitation.
No. But Andy says that she's not mad that Maya took it. She's mad that Maya knows that Andy earned it and that it was promised to her, but that she hasn't acknowledged that to Andy. Thank you for shaking your head. Tiffany's shaking her head.
Because no, Andy, Maya doesn't know that because that's not true.
Yeah, because I think that is something that Andy has kind of just made up and holds as legend in her own head.
Yeah, she just has it in her mind.
And then how harsh did she have to be? She calls Maya a sociopath and says she's going to enjoy watching Maya destroy the station.
Uh-huh.
And I'm fairly
Yeah.
confident that
And
that is a sociopathic comment.
yeah, Andy gets pretty nasty.
It's just so mean. But I like that Maya tells Andy that it was before all the Ryan stuff that she went for the job and that she fought for it because she thinks she's the right person for it. And she likens herself to Pruitt as well and says that she's a workaholic who puts the job before personal relationships, but that Andy lets personal relationships get in the way.
Which is true.
Yeah. I'm glad that you agree. I was going to ask your opinion on that statement, and if you concur, job's a good one. Thank you. Moving on.
Yep.
So Maya says the same thing again in episode 7 when Andy's questioned Maya's tactics on a call. Because Andy does let her personal life get in the way of work because Pruitt turns up at the instant, at the scene, and then Andy immediately picks a fight with him about her promotion and him not treating his cancer. And it's down to
Yeah.
Pruitt to say, you know what, you should really be focusing on the incident, as should I, and we can talk about this later.
Right.
And that's when Rigo gets hurt.
Yep.
And Andy's reaction to Rigo getting hurt while he's still on the floor hurt is to blame Maya for it
Yep.
immediately. And then she keeps going when they get back to the barn, saying that Jack and Rigo should never have been in the field together, to the extent that Jack, this time, who has not been Maya's number one fan all this time, but even Jack steps in and has Maya's back on this occasion. And that's when we see Maya really bite back, calling Andy out on her insubordination and telling her to either fall in line or leave.
Yep. Which I really liked that scene.
It was a really powerful scene, and I'm ashamed
It
to say that
was.
I'd actually completely forgotten about it until I saw it, and I was like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
it was such a good scene. Yeah, and I absolutely loved Maya in that scene. And I thought it was justified. Do you think it was justified? Do you think she was a bit
Oh yeah.
harsh? What's
No, I think it should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, good. Because I always want a more balanced opinion. And it's not that I've got anything against Andy in general. I don't think she treats Maya well at all. But I don't have anything against Andy particularly, other than that. But I am such a big fan of Maya that it's good to have like a more balanced opinion in you, and for me to like
Yeah.
check with you, like, am I giving Maya too much credit? Because
Uh-huh.
I know that you do love Andy, so you can be more balanced about it. But I just thought, good
Yeah.
for you for speaking up. But I'm glad that I'm not letting Maya get away with bad behavior because of my feelings
No,
for the character.
I think it was way, it needed to be done way earlier than it was.
Yeah, she's been really, really
Very
patient with
patient
Andy.
and accepted a lot of disrespect.
Yes. Yeah. And potentially bullying behavior
Yeah.
from someone who is not only supposed to be her best friend, but who is now her subordinate.
Right.
There was a line that Andy said in episode 8. It's the one with all the bikers, and there's a guy that's clinically dead, and Jack just keeps doing CPR and keeps doing CPR.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she says to Jack that he has to stop working on a dead patient, that it's cruel to keep beating him up so that he
Yeah.
can feel like he's had a win.
Yep.
Isn't this what she's doing to Maya, though? Like just beating Maya up so that she feels like she can have a win.
You know, I never actually say that I cross those two together, like put those two together, but I can see that, yes.
Yeah. And in that same episode, Maya ends up in tears in bed with Karina, comparing herself to the truck that plowed into
To the
19,
truck. Yep.
destroying,
Yep.
the truck scene.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, let's just pause for a second for the truck scene, because what a scene.
Are we pausing for that scene because of the I'm the truck line or because it's she's in bed with Karina? I'm just curious.
I just thought it was an absolutely gorgeous scene. And we
Okay, I just
rarely
want
see Maya.
just you know.
Look, I'm not saying that it wasn't improved by the presence of a certain Italian, but it was so well written. It was such a well written scene, and it was
It
so
was
well
a very well
done.
written
It was
scene.
so well
Yes.
done, and the way Maya just breaks down and keeps saying, "I'm the truck, I'm the truck," and
Yeah.
like the vulnerability in it, and because we don't really see Maya that
And Karina's
way.
like, I don't understand American
Not very good with American
idioms.
idioms. Yeah, bless her. But
That's so funny.
but it was such a brilliant scene, and bless Maya, such a great analogy,
Yes.
saying that she's the truck. But all she did was take a job, and that
I
job,
really didn't
had
think she
she
was
not
the
taken
truck.
it, no, she wasn't the truck. She took a job that otherwise would have been handed off to someone from the outside, because that's exactly what happened when Ripley chose who the captain was. He brought someone in from the outside. That's how Sullivan ended
Yep.
up with that job. So had Maya
Yep.
said, no, Captain Sullivan, I can't do that to Andy, he wouldn't have gone, oh, well, in that case, I'll give it to Andy. It would have gone to Jack at best, but it's likely to have gone to someone from the outside.
Right.
So all Maya did was take a job that would have never been Andy's anyway. It would have been someone else's. All she did was take a job. And I think there's an argument to be made for Andy being the truck.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and let's just say that she took a job that she's good at too,
Yes.
because she
That
is
she
a good captain.
earned. She's a great
Yeah.
captain. And she was a great firefighter.
But I can agree that Andy's the truck too, because she's caused so much discord and division in the house that it's made it
Yes.
an unsafe environment.
Yeah. because she's, as you say, absolutely the one that's caused the rift by showing at every opportunity she can how angry she is with Maya and sowing the seeds of division.
Yep.
So yeah,
For
I
sure.
think there's definitely an argument for Andy being the truck. And as we know, after her little meltdown, Maya requests a demotion
Yep.
and Sullivan rejects it. And then it's after that call that Andy kind of reluctantly pays Maya a compliment and tries to kind of bury the hatchet, I think. And she says, doesn't she, that Maya made the call look easy. And again, Maya can't leave it alone. She can't just say, thanks, Herrera, and go to the office. She then throws it right back and says, well, the captain's only as good as their team.
Right.
Maya's just always, I don't know, it just feels like Maya's always giving of herself and always trying to big Herrera up. Even when Andy's being awful to her, she still wants to lift Andy up.
Right.
But Andy does follow her compliment up in the kitchen in private. And she tells Maya that she can't quit and that when she makes captain, it won't be because her friend handed her the job. And Maya, again, just says that she misses her best friend and apologizes for breaking them. And that seems to be the turning point for them, and things seem to kind of get back on track after that a little bit. Because we don't see much of them, but after Pruitt sacrifices himself and Andy's at home and Sullivan's taken bereavement leave to go and be with Andy, Andy sends Sullivan back to work. And the reason that she gives is that he needs to have Maya's back. So it seems like maybe all's forgiven because she didn't even blame Maya for her father's death, which she could quite easily have done, couldn't she? And said, well, you should have stopped him and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But of course, the flip side to that is that at the point that she's saying this to Sullivan, he's her husband, but she hasn't told Maya
Right.
that they're married. So she's still keeping things from her. So it's still not a perfect kind of reunion.
No.
But that's kind of it for them for the season. We get kind of one more scene of Maya and Andy talking, I think, which is at the houseboat party. And then that's it until the premiere of season 4. But I mean, what a massive roller coaster of a season for them, season 3.
Yeah, season 3 was a lot.
I mean, I don't think at any point during season 3 you could really consider them friends.
No, I would agree.
Because for most of the season, it's just Andy attacking and undermining Maya and Maya trying her best to win Andy round.
Yep.
And like you said, I think some of the things that Andy says are just so cruel.
Yeah, definitely. Extremely cruel.
And trying to rally the team against Maya, talking negatively about her right under her nose in Spanish so that she can't understand it, calling her a sociopath, saying, I can't wait to watch you destroy 19. I mean, that's some serious wrath that she had.
Yet Maya still tells her she misses her best friend when they make up in the kitchen. Yeah.
And I just don't see what Maya did wrong. I mean, did she even tell Maya that she'd been promised the job? Because it's one thing to say, I was promised the job, but unless you say to your friend, guess what, so and so's promised me the job, then how's Maya to know that she's treading on Andy's toes?
Well, I don't think she told Maya that because I don't know who told her that. So,
Same. And really, shouldn't her anger have been fully directed at her father and Sullivan, not Maya?
yes, for sure.
Maya didn't make the decision. She wasn't the decision maker in it. You know? And we see multiple times that it's Maya who comes crawling back to Andy multiple times. She apologizes for breaking them. When did she break them? She didn't even break them in the first place. Andy broke them by treating Maya the way she broke her.
Well, she claims she broke them when she took the job, I think.
But then it's Andy's reaction to
that broke it, right?
That broke it. You know, she could have just said, well, I'm mad at my dad and Sullivan. It should have been mine.
Right.
But hey, buddy, congrats.
Yeah, that's not Andy, though.
No, clearly not. And although she does seem to come round to everything after the loss of her father, she is still shutting Maya out because, well, she starts the season by shutting Maya out and ends the season by shutting Maya out because at the start of the season, she's sleeping with Sullivan and hiding it from Maya. And then at the end of the season, she's married to Sullivan and is keeping it from Maya. So the secrecy and stuff continues. So, I mean, to sum up season 3, I just think that a rift started in season 2, and then it just kind of turned into a giant chasm over the course of season 3. How do you feel?
Oh yeah. It's totally escalated. Became really rough in season 3.
So, should we put season 3 to bed and rejoin them in season 4?
Sure.
Okay. So, for me, I think that when season 4 started, it was kind of all change. It felt like everything had changed completely because in the previous seasons, even when things weren't necessarily going great between Maya and Andy, you still saw Maya kind of reaching for Andy. But in season 4, Maya's first big dilemma is about moving in with Karina. And it's Warren that she confides in about that, not Andy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, for me, that just kind of set it up. And then Andy goes to Maya and begs her to testify at Sullivan's hearing, but it's clear that she still hasn't spoken to Maya about what's going on in her life for weeks, because when she tells Maya about the temporary separation, Maya then says, oh, well, that explains why you've been sleeping at the station. And it's quite cold with Andy in that scene in her office, I think. So again, it doesn't seem like the rift has really closed any, because there's still this secretive behavior from Andy. She's separated from her husband. She's sleeping at the station, but she still hasn't discussed that with the person she says is her best friend.
Right.
I mean, have you got a different opinion on that or an explanation for it? Or do you just think that's just Andy not valuing Maya?
Not yet. I think in a couple episodes I have a different opinion, but not yet.
Again, it's down to Maya to go to Andy, and she says, I need my best friend to talk to, when she's struggling with her new living arrangements with Karina. And whilst Andy says, well, you can call me, Maya says, well, can I though? Because your whole world crumbled a few weeks ago and I had to hear about it from Gibson. Which is legit, right? And it's not the first time that she's done that. Has just kept stuff from Maya. So can you see why Maya would question their friendship based on that?
Yeah, of course.
I just feel so bad for Maya. She's the one she's just begging all the time, you know?
But Andy could to question the friendship too with Maya going to Warren instead of her. But with the track record, why would Maya go to Andy when she's
you
never
either
there for
find a shirt on the floor outside the bedroom or they start talking about themselves when you've gone to ask them for advice and help. So
Right.
And again, it's like one-way traffic, right? She's saying, I've got this problem with not with Karina, but, I'm feeling a certain way. These feelings being brought up because Karina has now moved in. And so she wants to talk to her best friend about it, but all this stuff's going on with Andy with Sullivan, and she's talking to Jack about it, not Maya. I just feel really bad for Maya, because I do just think it's completely one-way traffic. But to be fair, Andy does later apologise to Maya, and she said that she hadn't forgiven Maya for Jack or the promotion, but she also admits that those things aren't entirely Maya's fault, but that she defaulted to the same into the same mode that her dad did, which is just to shut down and shut people out. But I think this is possibly the most backhanded compliment I've heard in a while, but I think it was supposed to be a compliment. She says that she misses having a friend who is just as messed up as she is. Like, you're a mess, mate.
Which Maya's messed up in her own ways.
She is, but, maybe just say it a bit gentler than that.
Yeah.
But after this conversation that they had where Andy says she misses her messed up best friend, there's instant forgiveness as always from Maya, who offers for Andy to move back in with her and Karina and the orgasmic French toast, despite the fact it must be good French toast.
It must be very good French toast.
But that's despite the fact that Karina's only been there a few days. But this is the depth of her love for Andy. Her very hot Italian girl, that's not me saying very hot Italian, I don't sexualize women, just saying. But she says at some point, as per my very hot Italian girlfriend's instructions, she says it's Jack, I think. So, despite her very hot, you don't laugh at me. Tiffany's laughing at me.
I'm sorry, that's yeah, sure, whatever you say.
My love is pure. Anyways.
It's just like my love for Merle Dandridge is pure.
Oh, your love for Merle Dandridge is not pure.
Yes, it is. Just like yours is.
All right, let's call a truce on that one.
Just in case Merle Dandridge ever listens to this podcast.
Exactly. Oh God, I'm blushing again.
See, if you're blushing and sweating, your love is not pure.
It's very warm in here, and I'm wearing a sweater.
Oh, sure, that's exactly what it is.
And Julia's been baking bread. It's definitely warm in here.
Yeah, you weren't sweating up until this point, though. That's all I'm saying.
Whatever. But yeah. But Karina's only been there a couple of days, is the point. And Maya's love...
That's the point.
That's the point. And Maya's love for Andy is such that instead of enjoying having her girlfriend now be a live-in girlfriend...
I'm sorry. Reel it back in, Tiffany. Reel it back in. I'm sorry. I wasn't quite over the previous. You're trying to move on, and I'm having a hard time. Because now I'm just over here picturing Merle Dandridge, and I'm just... Reel it back in, Tiffany. Reel it back in.
There you go.
But my love is pure.
Maya's love for Karina is not pure. But instead of taking advantage of that situation, she is saying to Andy, come move in with me. See her depth of... This is the point I'm trying to make, is the depth of her love for Andy. Just saying.
Yes. Yes.
Of course, their happiness is pierced by the death of Andrew or Andrea. And Maya takes the week off and she asks Andy to step in for her. But we don't really see them together again until 4:10, which is the COVID vaccine drive thing. And we find out then that Andy has introduced Maya to her long-lost family. So that's kind of nice to find out that she thinks enough of Maya that she's introduced them to her family. You see how I'm trying to be positive?
Yeah.
I'm saying nice things about Andy.
Yes, you are.
I just feel the
I'm
need to
very,
point that out.
very, very proud of you.
Thank you. I've got something in my eye.
I can tell you've been rubbing it for like the last 20 seconds.
Yeah.
This is because we were talking about your pure love for Stefania Spampinato.
Look, they're different people. Stefania and Karina share a face and a voice. But don't pull that face.
And I'm because who signed your gateway drug? I'm just saying. It wasn't Karina DeLuca who signed your gateway drug.
I didn't ask for that. You're going to get me in so much trouble. Oh, man.
I can't wait till you get that autograph in the mail.
I know. Oh, but I think it's in 410 that Maya asks Andy for advice because of Karina having to go to Italy. And whilst Andy gives the advice, I think there's an argument to be made for her heart not necessarily being in it, because the advice was quite brief, if you recall. It was in the engine on the way back from the call. And she literally just says to Maya, look, you were good through her brother dying, you were good through the pandemic, and you'll be good through this. And then she immediately takes her headset off, turns to Sullivan and starts talking to him about his demotion.
Okay. So I thought you were talking about a different scene. There's a different scene where I think she's a little bit more sincere, but for that scene, I'll agree with that one.
Yeah. And it just reminded me of the thing in the aid car in season 1 when Maya said, let's get me out of the way so that we can circle back round to you. And it's like it's like
Andy,
it's like Andy had done her bit. Like, okay, I've said that thing right now. Let's do me and the thing that's important to me. It felt like Sullivan and the demotion was more important to her than her friend's pain.
Right.
And then when they get back to the station, she encourages Maya to go with Karina to Italy, which I shall return to because I have a question for you. But then Andy and Maya don't really have any substantive scenes again until 4:14, when Maya's talking about the fact that if she marries Karina can stay in the country. And Andy tells Maya that getting married isn't the answer to their problems and that they'll be fine while she's in Italy. And to go home.
That's the scene that I was thinking about.
And that's a really nice scene. And when she says, you know what, go home and soak up every second of her. And I agree with you, that felt sincere. And I really liked that scene. And I liked that advice.
Can I be honest? One of my favorite lines, you're gonna hate me for this.
Go on.
One of my favorite lines in that scene was when she walks in and she asks Maya what she's doing, and Maya goes on this little tangent, and then she was like, Andy goes, what kind of cookies? I don't know why, but I thought that was like the funniest line in the world.
It was funny. It was funny.
It just kind of brought back that friendship feel, right? Like that.
That's a natural conversation. It felt It felt very natural, and it was a little bit of lightheartedness in all the kind of doom and gloom. So no, I don't hate you for that. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then they have another cute moment in the following episode in 4:15 when Andy goes into Maya's office, and again, we need to put a pin in it and highlight it, because she asks Maya how she's doing whilst Karina has temporarily gone back to Italy. So I think that is twice in 3 seasons that she's taken an interest in how Maya's feeling.
Okay, so she's moving a little slow, but she's getting there. Yeah, she's getting there.
What I did really love was the scene of them preparing for the wedding.
Me too.
And that's what you expect from a best friend. That made me believe that they were best friends. The way she's like brushing Maya's hair.
Can we just talk about the scene, like when she walks in and she hears the noises coming out of the bedroom?
And then and trips over the piece of furniture in an effort to remain quiet.
I rewounded that scene so many times. She's like, just when she's picking the stuff up, and then her phone rings, and she's like, oh my God. And then she comes out with the most dry hair, messed up hair. We just got out of the shower.
We just got out of the shower with her head sticking up in.
Yeah, I love that scene so much. And then she's like, let's get you married.
Yeah. Oh dear. I would want her to go take a shower before I started helping her to get married.
Like maybe you want to take one.
Oh dear. Yeah, no, that was funny as hell. But I loved her, like, I loved the physical interaction of her brushing her hair.
Yeah.
That felt natural, and that felt lovely, and I could buy into them being best friends in that moment, and it was gorgeous. For sure. And Maya's reaction when Andy tells her that she's proud of her, she just looks completely amazed, like it's some complete revelation to her that Andy could be proud of her. But again, Maya can't just leave it alone, say thanks, Andy, and move on. She says, well, I learnt it from you, and throws the compliment
she always has to,
back. She always has to throw it back. You know, and then there's the thing that slightly sours it is that Andy's a bit awkward when she hears that, because things aren't going well with her husband. And again, she hasn't told Maya that things aren't going well with her husband.
Right. Which wouldn't be the best time right now, to be
fair.
No,
right now it wouldn't.
But she could have.
Yeah. And then Andy does another nice thing, which is that she convinces Maya to go and talk to her parents and tell them that she's getting married.
Yeah.
Which is a super thoughtful thing to do, because as much as Maya doesn't want it today, she's absolutely right that in 2, 5, 10, 20 years' time, that might be something that she bitterly regrets. So I really appreciated that from Andy. Did I miss anything from season 4 that you wanted to pluck out?
No, you actually hit all the points I wanted to hit. I added my little tidbits of notes that I had.
Cool. I thought it was actually quite lacking in Maya and Andy scenes this season. And there were very few kind of substantive ones that deal with just their friendship. Most of their scenes were not discussing them or their feelings or their lives. A lot of their interaction was very much on a professional level, I thought, in season 4. What did you think?
No, I agree. And I think it even gets drier in season 5, honestly.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Like there's not much for season 5 at all. And then season 6, they have a little bit more to talk about.
Yes.
But season 5, not so much.
Why do you think in season 4, Andy still isn't confiding in Maya? Like, why hasn't she spoken to her about her temporary separation from Sullivan at the beginning? Why do you think that she's still...
I don't think that has anything to do with Maya. I think that Andy was ashamed of the marriage with Robert.
Yeah.
I don't think she really wanted to marry him. And I think she feels ashamed of the way that the marriage is. And I think it's more of a shame issue on her end than not wanting to confide in Maya, which if she's her best friend, she should be able to, but I think she feels too shamed.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, that was a show of a marriage, man.
Yeah, I know. But Andy made it that way, in my opinion. She should have fought a little bit harder. But we can talk about that in another episode, too.
Yeah.
The marriage of Sullivan and Andy.
Oh, Christ alive. Was that an absolute disaster? What? Oh, no. Keep it to yourself, Melissa. It's fine. I was going to go into a whole rant about why gay people had to fight so hard for the right to marry when straight people are allowed to marry and screw it up willy-nilly. But I shall keep it in. I shall keep it in. Right, I'm going to ask a very controversial question. People are going to be mad at me, but it has to be asked. I'll take one for the team. Is Andy in season 4 starting to vie for Maya's job?
I've never looked at it that way, no.
Shall I tell you what led me to ask this question?
Yeah.
Right. When Maya is on bereavement leave, she names Andy as her stand-in captain. Then later on, Andy tells Maya that she should follow Karina to Italy. So is this solely for Maya's benefit, or is it going to be mutually beneficial because it's likely that Maya will name Andy as stand-in captain while she's in Italy, which gives Andy a chance to showcase herself as captain material for the brass and to kind of get her foot in the door.
And do you think that she's mad at Sullivan that he promoted himself to the chief instead of saying that Andy should be captain when that all went down at the wedding?
Well, it's funny that you should raise that, Tiffany, because the very next sentence that I have on my page is, and I shall read it to you verbatim, at the wedding, she says to Sullivan that he threw her over for his own career before
Yep.
saying that he'd offered himself up as Maya's replacement.
Offered himself up. Yep.
So is
should
she
it have
then
been her?
saying that she should have Maya's job? She should be Maya's replacement.
Maybe. I had never looked at it that way before, but I can see it that way now.
I hadn't either, but it was when I looked at those 3 things in concert because I was obviously making notes just on Andy and Maya. And those 3 things literally like happen virtually in sequence. That Maya makes Andy interim captain. Then Andy suggests that Maya should take a leave of absence and go to Italy, and then has a go at Sullivan saying, "You threw me over for your career."
Right. Yep, I can see it.
I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that those are 3 facts of things that happened.
I can see that definitely, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that never even occurred to the writers. Maybe that was never Andy's motivation.
Right.
But maybe it's just coincidence that those are 3 things that happened in that season in that order.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We will never know. So, I mean, what's your view of their relationship in general over the course of season 4?
You know, to the mid to end of season 4, I thought it was starting to go well.
Yeah.
And getting back on track. At least that's how I felt.
Yeah. I thought that there were some slight improvements on Andy's part for sure. I mean, she still isn't being transparent with Maya, but there's more of the same from Maya. You know, she's offering instant forgiveness. She's putting a roof over Andy's head despite having just moved in with Karina. But Andy, as I say, has made some improvements. Like she introduces Maya to her long lost family, and she is an absolutely sterling maid of honor on Maya's wedding day.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. So, I mean, it was definitely improvement on season 3 when basically it was Fight Club for the whole of the season.
Right.
Join us next week for our 3rd and final installment of Spotlight on Andy and Maya.